morning, ladies and gentlemen. As you have heard from Father, I'm a retired person, but not tired. I'm still going strong. This is because of my understanding of education and the value I have for the children. Having joined the teaching profession as a choice during our days, what to do was never a problem. Opportunities were very many. In fact, these days I entertain or give orientation to accounting students. And I tell them that as I became an accountant when I worked for 6 months as an accounting clerk in the treasury before going to university. And I had the privilege of handling the payment voucher for His Excellency Jomo Kenyatta. He used to earn 3,000 Kenyan shillings every month, while they were paying me 600 shillings every month. That was my beginning of work. Then when we started teaching, the teaching was a career of choice. Because after working for 6 months in treasury, they offered me opportunity to take me to KIA to do accounts. Because I balanced the voting book, that's where they record all their voting heads. I was taught by an accountant how to do it, and I did it efficiently. They told me, instead of going to university, why don't we take you to KIA and you run accounts? I said, no, I want to be a teacher. And therefore, when we joined the teaching, we joined it with a zero and with objective and a vision. First, you cannot be an effective teacher if you look at it differently from being a vocation. You must have the love of the children. You must also have the image of the teachers who taught you, and so how you are hard on yourself, how happy you are. Because I think that plays a lot of part in influencing to be a teacher. And the teaching remained enjoyable up to around 1983 was the turning point of the teacher we find it today. That the teacher that is supposed to be is not the teacher I see today. I see a different person. Teachers left vocation. Recently, I had some principals from Kibuye diocese, and one of the principals asked me, this year, I think in March or April this year, asked me, apart from reporting to work in Strasbourg every morning, and do all kinds of things, what else do you have? I got very surprised, because I told him that question, the answer to that question is what made the teacher leave the teaching profession and enjoy other things, to do all kinds of things in order to be talking about what he has, and forgetting that your investment is a child. And what that child becomes is what actually you have. I didn't have an answer for him, but I only told him, the question you have asked me, I was asked that question 30 years ago in 1983, and it is what was asked to manipulate teachers, to forget about the teaching, forget about the children, and they started doing all kinds of things in order to be talking about what they have. We resisted ourselves, we remained on where we are. And that's why this morning I'm coming to share with you my experiences. I saw very many things. As you have seen, you are taught. I retired as a chief principal. In 1992 is when I became a deputy principal after doing all kinds of things in Kenya science. And around 1999, I became the principal and then grew to a chief principal. I retired. I reached my 55 years. December 2005. But all the time as I grew and I saw people managing that college who came, I had the belief that you can run a government institution like a private institution. So when I was given the privilege of being the policeman, by the way, I never asked for this job. I never wanted to be the policeman. But the letter was brought on my desk, and I was told the TSC hasn't decided you are the policeman. I asked, what about all those people I have been hearing are looking for that job? And I was ready to serve them. Because my interest is not being the principal, it's about the teacher we are going to turn out by the end of the day. And by my understanding of the effect of a teacher, that when the teacher is in the class, he has got a chain of children behind him. And what those children will become will not be my responsibility. I cannot absolve myself from the blame if they become rogues, if the teacher I produce was a rogue. So I must produce a teacher with values who can go and share those values with the students. That was the foundation of my belief, of my line of teaching or training the teachers. So when I retired, I went into Strathmore. We started the education program with another lady called Margaret Rhodes, who used to be a principal of Kiana School. And from that time, we have not looked back. I have served there as a registrar of the university. And recently, we found there's a problem. In that the DVET Act was written, and according to the Universities Act, no university should be handling non-graduate programs. So we registered an institute, which we call the Strathmore Institute of Management and Technology. And I reached also my retirement age, the second. I have retired twice. From the TSC, I have retired from the university. I have now started afresh this year. So I'm in the third phase. I'm looking forward now to a third retirement. And I was asking now, can you take this institute? Let's create it at the scene. It is part of the university, just like a faculty of the university. So we are there sharing resources and making it move. I said, there's no problem. For me, I'm not looking for any promotion. I have had enough. I am looking for a job that we can do that can serve our young people in this country. And when Madam Augusta now rang me on Tuesday, asked me, can you come and talk to the police force? And I said, what do I have? That's a very short notice. No, come and talk about the role of a principal in a Catholic school as a model of integrity. I said, yes, there's a paper we share with them when they come to Strathmore. But if you have got so many, there's no time, all of you have not been there. But a good number of you have been there. Then I said, I am not shy from coming to tell you what I share with those who have been coming, with the education secretaries. That's how I met Father General from Meru one time, a few years ago. He brought his principals from Meru. Bugoma, we have been dealing a lot with them. Kitui, a lot. Some here and there, but we would like all the principals to come. The satisfaction with what we share with the principals is that when there are crises in the country, schools are burning or things are happening left and right, we take a tally. Which of these schools in the problem are managed by any principal who has been here? And we find, like now when we were burning, we found none. Then we say, this is a program we have to pursue and help the pupils so that the principals, so that they know how to handle their students, manage them, and then also help themselves. And therefore, I would like, because all what I will give you is a tiny fraction of what we give when you come to Strathmore. I will encourage the education secretaries from various dioceses to get in touch with us, and we can give the other bit, 90%, which I can never give you. So I say, let's talk about the work integrity. Normally, I present this paper with an objective that after we complete it, we understand what work is all about, and why we work, and whether it matters how we work. And those small details matter when we are performing our work. And can we work every day and yet remain idlers? And do we perform with the highest degree of integrity? And is there a way of controlling corruption to zero level in this country? If so, where do we start? And we have to understand what work is all about. And work is normally defined as preoccupation or engagement which results in something useful. That is, any work that will not help other people is not good to engage in. And in the perspectives of the work, we can define work starts from the time the child is born to the time it goes to the grave as an old guy, as we are heading there. You see, that's the time we shall stop working. And we don't fear talking about death because you can never avoid it. Your time will come, you must go. But the job must continue. We have continued working from the time you are born to the time we go to that grave. Now, but when you visualize it, when you see the child when it is born, nobody can suckle for that child. They have to do a job in order to survive. That's why you find when they suckle, they start kicking around, they sweat all over their noses because of the kind of effort they are putting in order to extract milk from their mothers. That is work. And that's why the life begins. They are living life begins outside their mother's womb. And the work is also a command from God. The Lord, when He created man, He said unto them in the Garden of Eden to cultivate and care for it. They were not just told, just rest there, fruits are there, you can be eating. You have to be doing some job. You have to be weeding for those trees which are giving you fruit. And the work itself is a magnificent reality. Both the Bible and the Quran, the enshrined one. In the Bible, it is an indispensable means which God trusted to us to enable us to get daily bread. And as we eat, we must also be creative. We are not just to be eating and the rest. We must also produce children for God because He cannot continue creating. Now we become co-creators. And that's why He said, by the sweat of your face, you shall get bread to eat. So that's why, after talking to you here, I will be not feeling as fresh as I felt when I came. I will be feeling a bit tired. And also we are told, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it. And the Quran itself, there are very many verses in the Quran. This is just one word, which tells them, after you leave the mosque, you go and work and then get food. Work is also a source of human dignity. You can compare yourself, those who are looking for jobs and those who are employed, the dignity, the recognition that they get. And also, it is everyday's activity, where St. Paul himself said, if anyone was unwilling to work, that fellow should not eat, because whose food is he eating? You must work and produce. So, ladies and gentlemen, work has been there from the beginning with the Adam and the Eve. And it was not a curse, the way people say. It was a manifestation from God that we have to perpetuate from the time we are born to the time we go to the grave, and therefore we must enjoy it and do it as perfectly as we can. There are various types of work, however, some of which intelligence predominates, others which the spirit predominates, yet others where body predominates. And all these works are important to the society, and therefore they are individuals who perform them. Teachers, they have what they are all, where intelligence predominates. Farmers, they do and produce food. Priests, they take over the one related to the spiritual aspect of the human being. The professionals, engineers, accountants, they do their work. Soldiers do their work. Policemen, artists, and the laborers, including the housemaid and all the rest and the cleaners. All these people are doing those works because they are important works. Is there any one of the works which you can say is not important? That's where the work, the beginning of respect of you and another person starts. The moment you understand that the house girl who works in your house is doing an important job and is as human as yourself, that's the beginning of respecting that lady or a gentleman who works in that capacity. If you realize the fellow who works in your shamba is as human as yourself, it's only that you cannot be able to do that job and go and teach, then that is the beginning of respecting that person as a human person who is doing an essential job. Because if he doesn't do, then we suffer. So all these jobs are equally important. Any job which is not important, you will not have it there. We don't do it. All these jobs are productive. Now, those who are employed live by what they are paid. But today, if you observe, most of us want jobs, but we don't want to sweat. That if you can just get a fellow who will be soldiering around from Monday to Friday, and then we pay him money, that is what some fellows, especially the youngsters of today, would prefer. We want money, but we don't want to sweat for it. So free money is sought all over. That is a curse. That's why the devil is working very hard. The devil introduced the question, what do you have, to the teachers? And that modified the teacher. The teacher left the children to become like anybody else, a businessman. And that was the beginning of our doing. To quote Dr. Griffin, this statement, Dr. Griffin was in Nairobi High School, was in Nairobi Hospital around June 2005. That was the year I was looking forward to retiring by the end of December. He wrote a statement to the Strathmore community, which challenged me. And he said, this world is full of people who do their duty half-heartedly, grudgingly, and poorly. Don't be like them. He went on and said, whatever is your duty, do it as fully and perfectly as you possibly can. And when you have finished your duty, go on to spare some time and talent in service to less fortunate people, not for any reward at all, but because it is the right thing to do. Now, when you analyze that statement, one, it became a challenge. When I retired December 2005, I asked myself, what statement shall I write to my Kenya Science community? Because it defines how we live and how we understood it. Fortunately, when I prepared this paper in year 2002. It became my working constitution within the college. The first people I presented it to were all the lecturers. The establishment, I had 104 members of teaching staff. Then I went into all the workers who were about 200, and they understood our constitution. And the constitution is what I'm telling you today. And then it remained my constitution. There's no way I could now contradict myself from what I told them. We left what I'm telling you now. And I believe this Dr. Griffin had these traditional theories that whenever you have got workers, some of them have to be forced to work. They belong to theory X. These are theories which were written in the 1920s. Maybe they have been modified, but they are still there in the book. People, you ask them, do this. Even when, do remedial teaching for these children, because they are not learning as fast as we should. Then they start asking how much. Before 1983, ladies and gentlemen, no teacher could be asked to do remedial teaching for these students and they start asking how much. He understood clearly it is his duty to do that job, because it was a duty to make the children become as the best they could. No payment was involved. All this, whatever you see today, it's a revolution that started in 1983. Because of the question that the devil brought to ask the teachers, what do you have? Then there is also this other group who enjoy working, like the football. But when you are principal, you have to be very careful about these teachers. Because these are teachers where you wanted the student taken for a function on a Saturday, they are very happy to take it. They don't ask you, how much are you going to pay me first? But the other group will first of all define how much you are going to pay for them to agree to accompany the student on Saturday. So this is a group you have to be careful about. Don't torture them, because you can overwork them, because they are easily approachable. They always agree, volunteering themselves to do things. But you must remember, even the other group is being paid a salary. So that's why you have to force them to work or leave. Now, what are the teaching status? Why we are what we are? Teaching is not just like any other, ladies and gentlemen. Teaching is a vocation. And being a vocation, we become the second parents of the children that we have. And you find like those who are you managing boarding schools, you actually have the child for a longer time in a year than the parents. So you should be better than the parents in that capacity. Be concerned with the growth of that child. Be concerned with the character of that child. Be concerned with the academic performance of that child. Because the way you grow that child, when he leaves you to go further and further, that's how the society will look like. If you produce mad fellows in the school, you don't expect a calm society after that, because there is no other teaching they will ever get. So all the teaching, all these fellows you see, even in politics, where one fellow, another to start there, starts insulting the other. I never get surprised. I always ask myself, which teacher produced that fellow? That has always my question. If I see another studying in public, insulting another, I always ask, which teacher produced that guy? In which school? Because that is what defines the school you are managing. Ladies and gentlemen, in school, there are intellectual, character, and spiritual formation that we have to worry about if we are handling the child properly. The grades, the academic grades, are secondary to the character of the child. If you read Dr. Greven's book, The Mastery of Education, in fact, he wrote one statement and he said, many principals get worried about the academic grades that their children are going to have. But the most important thing is the formation of the character of that student. Once the students are formed and they are calm, they become disciplined, following the academic program becomes the easiest thing. And the academic grades becomes just an awarded prize. So we started from the wrong end, worried about the grades. Grades are not what the kids came for. They will come if you start by forming that child to become a human being. And therefore, in a school, there are two functions. One we call consensual function. Consensual function is to do with everything that you have put in place to form that child into a human being. That is the pastoral care which you have, how they attend Mass in a Catholic school, how you give them the games, the co-curriculum activities that you put in place to form them is what is called consensual function. The differentiating function is about the academics. One fellow will be better in physics than the other one in mathematics, and the other one physics, chemistry, and the other one geography, than the other one. That's differentiating. But you cannot emphasize just the academics, the differentiating function, and forget the formation of the child and the care to be running the school. And depending on how you do things, your school acquires a type. There are typology of schools. The schools are put in 5 types, and those types determine what goes on in that school. The first school is called a moving school. A moving school is a school which gives both conceptual and differentiating function at equal footing. You know, the student must be tamed first in order to enter into academics properly. That you emphasize the character formation, spiritual formation, and all the good formation that are required for the child. They are emphasized. And you find in that kind of a school, the grades are awarded. Then the second school, the second type, which you can mistake with the first, is called a cruising school. A cruising school is a school which only emphasizes the scores, the grades. They forget that the owner of the grade must also have character. And therefore, you can manage to produce a very intelligent third in that kind of a school. And in fact, all these children who read in the newspaper, like we have been reading Nairobi University Kabete campus, where students are, they are students during the day, but at night they are thugs with guns. Mamulaka hostels, there was also a bunch of children like that. And they are produced. First of all, to be admitted into university, they had qualified. So they had the grades. But these are students who qualified without any character at all, because they never got it from the school. Then the fourth school is called a thinking school. And you can see a thinking school means that school that was performing at one time. And as soon as we changed the police force, they brought another one. The school started in those days. That's a thinking school. This is because the police who came in interfered with the culture of the school. Because the school, all these characteristics are determined with the culture that the principal put in the school. Then the final category is called a struggling school. A struggling school is where everybody works very hard. We want to improve, but we give ourselves a target of people are willing to it. But we are still at the sea when we have the previous year. What is wrong? And we have worked so hard. This is because it's something the members and the people will not understand within that school who says in the HOT. And if they attend somewhere, they might get a solution. And they go and they unlock what has been locking them because the will is there. Those schools, when they discover what keeps them down, they shoot, depending on whether they try, whether they value consensus function or not, they can become either a moving or a cruising. But ladies and gentlemen, all that said and done, we have to think 100 years to come from today. If I will be alive, I will be almost 200 years old. Now, but it will come, that 100 years to come. It will not matter what kind of a car I drove, what kind of a house I lived in, how much money I had in my bank account, nor what my clothes looked like. But 100 years from now, the world, and in fact this country, Kenya, will be a little bit better because I was important in the life of a child. That's all. Anything else is futile we are doing. Buying matatus and houses, those ones will take you nowhere. These children you are handling, they are the only assets, the commodities that you will live with you forever. You will die, they too will die, you will meet together. And who knows? If one of your students die earlier than yourself, you may be in heaven and then, or when you are being threatened to be taken to hell, the fellow come and says, please, Peter, allow this guy. Yeah? He's the one who helped me to enter heaven. See? That the matatu will not come. The moment you drop, that bus will be owned by guys who will be left behind. Useless things. How valuable is a child? Ladies and gentlemen. That is my feeling and that is my belief. And that is our style. Now, worker, we know you cannot achieve without planning. I don't need to dwell on it too much. We plan, we manage the resources, the resources we are given. Then we have also to manage our time. Things which are important, not important, and know how to discriminate them in the system. And then you enter into other areas. Attitudes. And one cannot talk about work without touching on attitudes, which we know is a mental set, a habitual way of thinking. That this work is too difficult, this one, if I leave my work, I will never get rich. If I leave, I will not be happy. All those things are attitudes. And therefore, when it comes to performance on the job, you can easily see a fellow who is motivated and a fellow who is demotivated. They either give you borakas. I will go to work on a Monday, doesn't matter what I will achieve. Up to Friday we stop, we go for a weekend, we start again. After 4 weeks we get paid a salary. Borakas. What he produces in those 4 weeks, it doesn't matter to me. Then compared with the CaSPA. CaSPA is a person now who is objective. You want to produce something by the end of the day. And when you ask for a teacher from the TSE, you are given your teacher who was interdicted or thrown out from another secondary school. You are told, yeah, a teacher is available there. You should tell the TSE, you are not just looking for any teacher. You want mwalimu bora, not the bora mwalimu. Not the bora mwalimu. You want mwalimu bora. That's the one you are looking for your children. And the attitudes are totality of our experiences from birth to the present. And we are influenced by many things. The culture, even the school culture can influence a fellow who has not been working. The school itself, religious faith, the getting from work, all these things matter. Every time when I reach that point, I ask myself, what influenced me to work? Because I feel, for me, I have never had a problem with working. But I found I was pumped with some energy when I came to realize, made to understand what Jesus did when he was living in this world. That we know that Christ was born. They migrated to Egypt because Herod was threatening his life. Then they came back. Then we hear about him again. When they settled in Nazareth, we hear about him again when they were in Jerusalem at the age of 12. And the parents found him and they went. When we hear about him again, is when he was, how many years? 30 years. So between 12 and 30 years, where was he? And what was he doing? There's no chapter in the Bible which tells us what he was doing. But we have been held to reflect about what he was doing. That he was like one of us. Joseph was a carpenter, and a carpenter was an average occupation, and a respected occupation, and he was helping Joseph every time in the workshop, doing ordinary things, sweeping that workshop, planing wood, going to buy timber for Joseph, making coffins and tables for all the people in the society, whatever demands were. He was doing ordinary work. There's a book which I have read called Christ is Passing By, a paragraph 52, which gives a narrative of how one time Joseph was making a bed, which they had was ordered by a person. But when he came to assemble the bars of the bed, he found one side, one bar was shorter than the other one. So he got worried. What do? We have to go and buy a piece of timber and come and plow and we make it right. No, Jesus told him, Moses, don't worry. Put the bar with the leg on the legs you want. He did it, assembled. Then Jesus wrote, can you fix one end of the shorter one? He fixed. Then Jesus went and he took it and then just prolonged it. As he take the rest. This is an agent in that book. You find those are the kind of occupation he had. So everything that he was doing as a human being, but he was doing it very well. So anything that we touch in terms of work, when we do it, we become other Christ. And we have got a person to imitate. We perfect it as Christ would do it. Imagine you are the Christ. How would he do it? That's your challenge. And this is what has been my challenge. When I took it, nothing else worries me. How much you pay me has never. I always tell people I'm a very poor negotiator about how much you pay me. I normally ask, you pay me what do you think I am worth? I find it very hard to talk about what you should pay me if I have to pay me because of me handling a child. I cannot be able to put that into the money I want you to pay. So this is the thing. What makes you despise or enjoy your work is important. Do you ask those seeking service from you to come tomorrow? Is it your practice? Remembering that there's no time Christ met any person in need. Who asked him, Christ, how much you need? I have this problem. He never told any guy, Bwana, now it's 10 o'clock, can we meet at 4:30? Jesus never told anybody that. It was an instant help. If he was resistant for a reason, like that woman who went to him, and they said, a Samaritan woman, and he told, you see, I cannot take food from the children and give to the dogs. No, it wasn't drained, but he wanted to strengthen her faith, and eventually gave what she wanted. That was the way Christ acted, and that's the model he left us as a worker, and that's what we should imitate, not any other character in this world. Even if 99% of people are defective and you are living among them, you have to remain the 1%. I'm talking to you, ladies and gentlemen, today because I was never swallowed by the basket. I remained outside and saw what happened. And where people are, I can see them. I still outside that basket. I see things totally differently. And I see children totally differently. And up to my last day, I will continue the same way. So Jesus himself did everything well. He could be sent to buy timber by Joseph. Yeah, we want to make a coffin for that guy who died on that side. The coffin has been ordered. Can you go and buy this timber? Have this money. Jesus would go to the market and find today the timber is not as expensive as Moses is talking about. It's cheaper. So either he could buy more feet or he gets the receipt and the money. This knowledge helped me a lot when I was a principal. Anytime I took school, college interest to go for college games in Mombasa, whenever I came back, I would go to call my finance officer. I tell him, Bwana, you gave me so much money. Here are the receipts, and that is the balance. What helped me is, I am the Christ. Would the Christ say, here are the receipts? And I also got a false receipt to cover up the balance, so that I only come back with the receipt without money. If I spent mine, I tell him, here are the receipts. I found my money, your money was not enough, I added mine, so you have to refund this one. You do the way Christ would have done. And that paragraph helped me, and therefore I had no quarrels in my being a police for any time, either with a school auditor, any character. It never came. It never arose anything. So now, the core of the matter, attitudes can be influenced. And as a principal, you are the person in charge of influencing the attitude of the pupils, the attitude of your teachers to become what you are supposed to be. So you have to be an exemplar. That is, it starts with you. You must offer what is called a virtuous leadership. That is leadership that goes with examples of good examples for the children to copy from. Because our students, or as the children grow, they are influenced by what they see and not what we tell them. They know that you are the person who probably asked them to pay for money to buy a school bus, and now they are in Form 4 and they have not seen the bus. They know, they can see your lifestyle. They can see all the suffering they are having, even after paying for whatever they have paid for. Now, that is what they copy from you. If they see something good because of what you are doing, although it's not good, that is what you are forming those children to be. So you will take a very heavy cross by the end of the day. So we must help the children grow in virtues. In prudence, they see the judgment or anything you want to do is for their benefit, not for your benefit. For the school's community benefit, not your benefit. Then in justice, very simple. Where the child sleeps, can you sleep in that dormitory? If that dormitory stinks, you are injustice, you are doing an injustice, offering injustice to the child. Because a student does not cease to be a human being because he's a student. He's still, as a child, a good child, as good as your own child. You don't mistreat your child in your house. It is the same thing in the school. The dormitory must be clean, free of smells. And you can be able to afford that. All you need is to employ a casual worker who can be cleaning when they are in the classroom. And when it comes to eating good food, food must be palatable. Clothes must be okay. And environment, classroom, the desk must be good. They enjoy being in school as a second home. If you do otherwise, you are compromising justice for the student. Those students grow. The principal so and so was so unjust to us. Like I had one school, they were using petty latrines. At one time, those petty latrines got full. And the students started going into the bushes nearby. And the principal did not give heed. He thought it is okay. That is the beginning of injustice to those children. When they leave school and they go to the society, they will never be able to dispense justice to any person. And it all came from the school. But if you are just, you are transforming those children. When they move out, they respect other people. When one time we went to Japan with Oyaya to come and start the CaSPA project in 1998, we visited two schools. One school in Hiroshima Secondary School, the other one a primary school, still in the same prefecture as they call them. And before the kids started the lesson, when the teacher enters, all the children stand up, they hold themselves into a prayerful form, then they bow. They shout something, which we could not understand because it was in Japanese, then they sit down. We tried to ask them what it means, and they could not disclose. But when you meet those children, when they are leaving school, when they see you, they give way for any elderly person. You get into the city center here when the children are leaving school. Who gives the way? It is, ladies and gentlemen, all that is from our failure from the schools. Our failures from the schools. Those children will grow, they will become adults, and their behavior will continue like that. Left and right, you will be fighting every day. Because we fail to show them the way of proper growth. It's our failure. If you want to change this country, just enter into education. If you change the teacher to become what he is supposed to be, a person who understands the teaching is as a vocation, who should now direct these children's growth, we shall change this country. A politician is a product of a teacher, so don't expect a change from him. He can never do what you did not teach him. So the only opportunity you have is the children you are currently having. Nobody else. And those should become our agent of change for the future. So fortitude, they must have strength. Even when Ogali is late, they can say, we can manage. Because our principle tells us, however difficult the distance is, we can manage it. So we have to grow into being ideal principle. An ideal principle offers punctuality. You are there with the people in the staff. And being a principal, you are only a colleague of your members of staff. You are not their boss. You are colleagues with a common objective. Those are the people who have come to help you help these children grow. And therefore, they are not your inferiors. You are all colleagues. The ideas are important. You incorporate everybody in running the thing. I used to tell my members of staff, I was 104, you can tell me anything and call me anything, except we cannot insult each other. But your ideas are very important because you must produce a teacher that we have in mind. A teacher who will graduate from this college with values to go and share with the students. Then you always understand what is going on in the school, and also be humble, and also you refrain using the school property, funds, facilities for personal use. Always you safeguard yourself from this. Because the kids are seeing, you don't do it, kids and the others. You are, and never abuse anybody in the public, that's, or in private. That doesn't arise. When we disagree, let's come and discuss it. And never spread gossip, never allow allegiance, anything bad in favoritism to take place. So whatever you do, your teacher speak it from there. The victim is your client, who is the pupil. Then the pupil is observing what is happening. When they finish school, they become worse than yourselves if you do those kind of things. And we lose the entire society. That's how it has become. So when you are suffering, you are not getting these services, always examine. How can I produce pupils who will be able to help me when I have in need of this and this, and will do it happen. Then evaluation of the examinations, where people, like now I hear even in university, you know this generation go, they become lecturers in the university. We do a lot of job in Strasbourg. The kind of kids who come, to tame them is a very big job, but we never lose heart through our mentoring system. Lecturers too, they come. Then you have to mold him, show him direction. With this work of formation continues, but it's because all the understanding we have, that the nucleus we have, we mold these kids, they become agents of changing the society. But how many Strasbourgs can you have? Strasbourg cannot expand like the other universities because of that commitment, the commitment of changing people. We have got so many of them, we shall not be effective. That's why we remain. We don't have any other campus except the Mandaraka campus. The challenge is because of that formation. We cannot have people who will form people in every campus because we have to function beyond. We are not interested in mainly in a performance or academic performance of a student. But we know if you form this fellow, academic performance is God given. You don't have to worry about your first. So we must evaluate all these things are there, even the sexual relations. But all these things, we read about them. I even know of a principal who used to do all kinds of things with his students until his wife reported him to the TSC, his own wife. And the guy was summarily sacked by the TSC. Later he went into politics, and the last time I heard about him, he was a member of parliament. So what kind of role do you expect him to? No? So that's why I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, You are the only people who can change the country. We lost the country because the teacher became what he is. He was manipulated by the question, what do you have? And we forgot the children. We went to look for things to be explaining to the society that we have. Things, vanity. And now, I have told you the principal who asked me that question this year. I was very surprised. The devil is still continuing with the manipulation, which he introduced in 1983. Doug Hammarskjöld says, he was a former UN secretary at one time, I think in 1960s. Your possession never gives you the right to command. It already imposes on you the duty of so living your life that others can receive your orders without being humiliated. That is, you cannot ask a person to do what you cannot do. You want them to do that job which you cannot do. You must first of all demonstrate that you can do it. That's what he is saying. Anything you want another fellow to do it first. And show them by examples. And with that, then I will leave it there. We shall come for this last section. You will get time. It's a very exciting section, but the time is our challenge. What to tell you is not my challenge. I have so much in my head. I have seen them and touched them. But we should go for it. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Just continue. My last section is about transparency and accountability. And we have heard all these terms all along. And it has to do with how we can be accountable, especially when the money is involved. How we ethically do our job. We saw what is this relates to. And honesty and integrity, which we can never be able to run an institution efficiently without addressing honesty and integrity. In Japan, I'm told there are very few lawyers, because when an old man agrees to sell his piece of land to another one, and they agree on a price, even if another one comes in offering higher money, he won't be able to break that agreement. Yet it is not written. That's a formation from the heart. So lawyers have got very little to do in Japan. And when we talk of integrity, I at one time came across this child called Hana Wanjiru. And how she came into being is because, as they say, if a dog bites a human being, it is not news. But if a man gets very angry and bites a dog, and the newsman happens to be nearby, it will be reported, isn't it? Now, this is where we have reached. This girl did just something very simple. One morning she was going to school, she didn't have a pen. Then her mother was sick at the bedridden, and she went to a kiosk, where she was known and the parents are known. And she asked the kiosk man, can you give me a pen, which I don't have? When my mother gets well, we will come and pay for it. Then the kiosk man said, no, there is no way. The child did not mind, she continued to go to school. But a few meters from that kiosk, she found a note of 1,000 shillings. She picked it. When she picked that 1,000 shillings, she did not think of going back to buy the pen using that money. She continued to school. When she went to school, she went and told other students, other pupils, who asked her, can we share this money? She found the danger, so she ran to the teacher. And they told the teacher, I have found this money, please keep it because I'm sure the owner will come for it. And that's how she attracted this attention. And she was interviewed and said, why did you think of giving it to the teacher? And she was now the owner went for that money. She said, you see, our Sunday school teacher tells us if we find anything lost, it belongs to a person, and therefore we should look for the owner. Then my mind now rotated. I started seeing the image of the teacher. Maybe this is the teacher who must have been doing things for the children to see. Maybe the children forget their shoes in that, where they do their Sunday school business, and they always find them. So whatever the teacher tells them never contradict the practice. And that's what has formed this child. And it was captured in the news. Now, the following year, the nation decided that she should be sponsored to a good school. And a year later, this girl now became what you are seeing. The other one is for 2006, 2007. She was taken to a boarding school in Gom, and you can see how transformed she is. And she wrote and said she would like people to be thanked very much well. This is the reward, and this is now what integrity is about. And the integrity came from the teacher to this child, and the reward she got. As compared to this guy, this guy is not a policeman. He used to work in a kiosk, in a cafeteria in the Mosaica police station. And the policemen, when they finish their job, they used to leave the uniform somewhere in a store. So very early in the morning at around 4 a.m., the guy would go there and fit himself a uniform. Then he go to Mosaica roundabout, and all the rollers coming from Kibuye. So you can imagine what happens. By the time he was discovered, he had done the job for 3 months. So you can imagine his reward is not the same as the reward of €1. He went. That is the lack of integrity. When we talk of integrity and the lack of it, the two now give you the picture. Then there is an aspect of the corruption. We have had the corruption itself is impairment of integrity, virtue or moral police. Simply induce it wrong. Somebody came and wrote a formula and said the corruption is equal to monopoly plus discretion minus accountability. And they say it does not matter where the power is. If an activity is in public or in private, non-profit or not non-profit, carried in New York or in Nairobi, you will always find the corruption. If a person has got a monopoly power to decide who gets what at the voting price, doesn't matter, doesn't have to be in Kenya, anywhere in the world. And you can imagine now, a policeman has got a lot of powers. Like when we are admitting Form 1 or students in the colleges, and even when, especially during the time of replacement, I used to go to the ministry and tell them, I want 15 vacancies of all these students who did not come, can you give me 15? But I used to explain, one will go to the chairman of the board of governance, he has asked me this, the other one will go this way, I would have all places where they would go. And whenever I was given, I would make sure they ended up there. There's no time. It closes my mind that it is a time for making money because it's a time of admission. But I know when my first child was going to Form 1, one provincial director told me, I'm going to help you. Later, I heard him talking with another fellow. You know, this time is a time of harvesting. Then I knew there's no time I will be helped. So I told the police boy, I was a deputy then, I'm closing my office and I will come back when my child is settled in a school. Because I have come to learn that guy of yours who is your friend will never help. I have understood what he goes through. And sure enough, I drew a map of how to go to look for a Form 1 place. And I only landed the first school. And I explained to the policeman my hours. He told me, go back, my students have not even come, let bring the child on Friday, 3 days time. So you can say, all these things I have suffered and I know what they are. But we have to break the chain. We don't have to do things the way they are done. My commitment was, if a child ever came to the college and they told me I wanted to be admitted, if I had the opportunity among the people to help, I used to go for that child who came alone without the parent, because for the child to have to tour, to come to the college to look for a position, means that there is nothing left behind. There is no parent, there is nobody of influence, it's only the child alone. And to show that the child, to teach the child, everything is not lost, you help that child. And that was my commitment, nothing else. And ladies and gentlemen, I thought this is important to share with you. Now we tried writing the laws. Year 2003 was about writing the laws of procurement and everything. But people are not changed by laws. What you need is to change people's hearts. Laws should follow what the people are doing. But if you write the laws alone, don't do this, it does not work. What helps is now what I'm telling you. You buy it or refuse, it is your choice. That's why, despite so many laws, people have become worse than they were in 2003. So, is there any corruption in public service? Why everybody thinks we are? What happened in 1996? The Transparency International has been studying Kenya. The body itself was formed in 1995. And the following year, Kenya was captured in the net. And every year they studied. We were included in the first study, and we were the 54 countries. Kenya was included, and we were, the marks we scored, the prisoners number 52. We are already ahead of Nigeria and Haiti in the corruption index. From there, they have been studying us in. You can go to their website. You can get all the years from that time. I already picked a few. 2004, you can see the position we scored. The best country was Haiti. If you score 10 out of 10, it means the country does not have corruption at all. The only consoling thing is corruption is everywhere where human being exists. That is, nobody scores 10 out of 10. Even in that 2004, the best country, which is Finland, scored 9.7. Then, if you compare that table, how we have been scoring, I captured for a couple of years from I cannot read the year they grew, they are absorbed there, but I think they are up to the year 2015. This is the position we have been, well, the year 20, where does it start? Where is the first one? We were number at 144 out of 159. You can read the trend, our positions, and the marks we were scoring out of 10. 2.1, 2.2, and so on and so on. Our average mark over 10 years is 2.3 out of 10. The definition of corruption, according to them, the best countries in the world are Finland, Denmark, New Zealand, Sweden, and Iceland. These normally are the best countries. Like in 2015, the best countries are between 9 and 9.7. But I decided to put our scores in a graph. They say if a country scores between 5 and 3, the corruption is perceived as serious. But anybody who scores between 3 and 0, then corruption is rampant. So you can see our blue curve, the best we have ever scored is 2.7, which we scored in 2012, at 2013. Then we started declining, 2014, and we scored 2.6, below 2.7. And 2015, we scored 2.6. And last year, 2016, last year, we scored also 2.6. And we were positioned 145 out of 176 countries. That's why when people look at this curve, they say, oh, nothing goes on in Kenya except corruption. But ladies and gentlemen, we are the people to change this scenario by bringing the children that we handle, understanding and appreciating corruption is a killer for them and everybody else. And therefore we change it around. Corruption is a human rights issue, a development issue, and the impact on the ability of the public service to give the service it is expected to give. And we know the effect it can give. The roads are never well done. You go to hospitals, inhibit private investment, reduces economic growth, the cost of doing business goes up, and it can lead to political instability. And it can lead to death due to lack of health care, food security, and essential infrastructure. And when the suffering comes, the children are affected most, followed by ordinary women. It's like in a war. Because they go to hospital, like now, you find the nurses are on strike, women want to give birth, there's no midwife working. So you imagine what happens. I always stop there when I hear that news. But note, we have to note, corruption is found in both the public and the private sector. If you go Catholic University right now here, you won't know where corruption is taking place. If you enter Strathmore, where you think there might be a guy who is doing one thing or the other, before you catch him, still corruption. So, you find it there because corruption is not the system. It has to do with the individuals. But when the government is blamed because it is the main employer of the people, so it impacts heavily on the people because the services which we rely on, most of them come from the government. That's why government is always blamed. But you can see no public service practices corruption as a policy. There's never a policy in any public service. All decisions about it are made at individual level and by individuals. So it's not the government, it's me who decides. When I'm the principal, how I'm going to run my college. When you are principal, how are you going to run your school? It is all to do with you. It has nothing to do with the TSA, nothing to do with the government. And you cannot say everybody is doing it. It is you who is doing it in your own kingdom, where you have got the monopoly power to decide what goes on. And therefore, its eradication must therefore begin at your individual level, my individual level. And this requires now us to perform ethically and with the highest degree of morality. And the self-discipline must always come in. So finally, the way forward, if that is the case, Mahatma Gandhi one time said, the education of the heart cannot be imparted through books. It can only be done through the living touch of a teacher. That means he is talking about the virtues, the examples you give to the children to copy from me, not by going to the chalkboard. I know I read today, people are saying in the new curriculum or the new education system coming in, that we shall be teaching ethics. Ladies and gentlemen, teaching theories of ethics without the practice is a waste of the teacher's time. In which curriculum was the corruption a unit? And yet, we have now professors of corruption. It is people run devices from what they saw people do. You don't need to teach the theory of corruption. All what you need is to do things that are corrupt there. And I see the benefits you are getting and you absorb me in it. So if we want to change the people, it's not by teaching ethics. Even in Strathmore, where we teach ethics as a component or integrated component in our courses, all the courses, it does not matter what the child is doing, which degree you do, there's always a unit of ethics. The discussion is how much are you practicing this ethics which you are teaching the student? Because that is what wins in the day, not in the theory that you have taught on the chalkboard. So that is one thing. As teachers, you are the implementers of the curriculum. Ethics will be brought as a theory. But if you are not practicing it through virtues, it is a waste of your time and the children's time. They better be playing football. That's a challenge, that is the truth. But it is coming in because people do not think there is another one. There is. We start, it's a question of deciding from today, this is the way to operate. So corruption is a matter of heart. And why is it difficult to detach ourselves from it? It all starts with forming a habit, which is a bad habit. Then the habit swallows us in it. We become part of the person of it. Just as the Pope said the other day, nobody is immune from corruption. If you are not conscious about it, you can be easily get swallowed by corruption. Nobody is immune. And in every person is a spirit-given faculty, which enables one to recognize goodness and the truth when one sees them. But one can lose any faculty if he or she does not use it. So too, we can lose the ability to recognize goodness and the truth. If you are never bothered, you can live at animal level, and then you will never see anything good within the humanity. One comes to a stage when evil seems good, and when God's good, it seems evil. And that's why you find the people these days, they can challenge. The bishop can talk about, can teach, come here and teach you things. From the teaching that the bishop gives, you can find somebody finds it so easily to criticize. This is because of this aspect. You have lost the direction of godliness. Why should a sin be unforgivable? When a person reaches a certain state, repentance becomes impossible. Because you never see anything wrong that you do, even if it is wrong. If you want to do corruption, you see loss of revenue. And therefore, you say, I cannot leave it, it's good. Help my children to be happy. Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot to tell you, after my first year of being a principal, my finance officer came, he lost patience, and they asked me, how come you don't like money? Then I asked him, which money are you talking about? I'm paid a salary to do what I do. He said, but you see, the previous principal used to tell us do ABCD, every weekend you give so much. Yeah. And then I asked, after you give him so much, how much money were you taking away yourself? That is now a turning point. I told him clearly, my father never stole for me any time. I will never steal for my children. My job is to bring up my children, they see how I'm toiling, they respect what I get through toiling, so that when I'm not there, they are able to take care of it, because they know its origin and how it came about. Nothing easy. And that is the command we are given by God. So the guy got perplexed. And I told him, there's no time. I have my 5 children. Now my last one is here in the 4th year, coming join the 4th year. The 5th one is here. She is now 21. The others are now old men with children. Now, I told them, there's no time I will steal for anyone. But God does not inhibit them from moving. So what about corruption? Why should it be difficult to detach ourselves from the vice if we are involved? It is because corruption being a sin, the person has reached the stage when repentance has become impossible. Even when you are Catholic, you will go and confess all other sins, but you will never confess that a guy influenced you to admit his children to Form 1, or influence you to give a tender. Yeah? You compromise the tender committee in the school. And these things are there. When I was the chairman of board of governors, I have done many things in this world. In the Loreto, Limuru, we were given 48 million to build the hostels. And the contractor who won the tender, I had to give him a lecture. He's not there. I know when I told him, I know the tender in the government sector becomes expensive because you consider the corruption not to be involved. So you consider the principal, the chairman of the board will get so much, so let us now influence that price to be accommodated. I told him, what you want is the value of the money we are going to pay you. When the work you have done is certified by public works, you have done so much and you can be paid so much, your check will not stay for 1 day. And if it does, you tell me. That is my concern. But here, we don't want even a shilling from what you are doing. The man appreciated and said, I'm going to give you the best that I can do. If the principal is here, you know, she used to be killed by other principals. Why you are betraying us? Because for us, we built the classroom, built the hostel, built many things. And she was going with a report to the ministry when they are called for a meeting. Who had done something? Then we were reading all the way. Some fellows had not even started because they were still quarreling about how they will share that 48 million, instead of thinking of putting good facilities for the young kids to enjoy. And knowing that when you put it, you are influencing those children as they grow. When we talk to them during Parents' Day, and talk to their parents, you are influencing them, and you are influencing the change we are talking about. So, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, if we have to reverse this trend, we have to recognize that corruption is a bad thing. And repent, now take it seriously as a sin that we can confess, and feel sorry for having ever committed it in any way. None of us is perfect. You can be caught in a net very easily. And when you decide no more, now we have started a new journey. That is a conversion. But you know when you say conversion is for a moment. It takes place instantly. But sanctification is a lifetime venture. And therefore, when you decide no, now you take another route. You are going to the west, now you turn to the east. Now sustain yourself. And that's how you soldier on. And if we do that, I believe we can manage the dragon, which is eating us. Because if we continue that way, at one time, we shall all get finished. Nowhere. Our children will become money fellows, thinking of nothing else except money. I asked 2 years ago, I asked a girl, when we were talking about National Youth Service money, I asked a lady student, a BCom student, who is your role model? She said, Kahura is my role model. Then, you see the influence. Now that girl student, now I have to take now, look for the mentor. Now guys, discuss this. Because that's what mentoring is about. You make them see what they worship is not the right thing. And that's how we manage to put them on the line of growth. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you to stop there, and I'm very glad that I was given opportunity to come and talk to you this morning.